Hello everyone, welcome to today's story. The night began with the soft whisper of rain brushing against the old wooden windows. Somewhere in the countryside, Tuna sat by the bamboo table, rocking Henry in her arms, his breath gentle, his dreams untroubled. Yet outside, a storm was gathering, not only in the sky but in the hearts of those who loved and feared too deeply. In a distant tower, Alex stared into his computer screen, unaware that the woman he cherished was drifting farther away with every raindrop that fell. And somewhere between them, an unseen hand moved, quiet, patient, and cruel. The wind carried a whisper, a warning, or perhaps a promise. The night had only just begun. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The truth is just beginning to unfold. The rain thickened like a curtain of glass. Tuna clutched Henry tighter as thunder rippled through the dark horizon. Her mind wandered back to the last morning at the farm. Alex's tired smile, his promise to come home early, and the faint scent of coffee on his shirt. Now, that warmth felt like a dream dissolving into the cold mist. She thought she had escaped the noise of the city, but fear followed her like a shadow. The sound of a motorcycle echoed through the narrow alley, low and threatening. The wooden door creaked. A man stepped in, coat soaked, hat pulled low, silver ring glinting in the dim light. "Hello, beautiful," he said softly. "Your son is handsome. I just came to talk." His tone was casual, almost kind, yet every syllable was a blade. Tuna's heartbeat raced. She backed away, voice trembling. "Who are you? You have no right to be here." The man's eyes darkened. "Alex isn't yours. You should remember that." Then his fist came down on the table. Glass shattered, water splashed across her clothes, and Henry's cry split the silence. When the man finally left, leaving only the stench of gasoline and the echo of his words, Tuna sank to the floor. The storm outside answered with a flash of lightning. Bright, merciless, and close. At that very moment, across the city, Alex sat in his dim office, his reflection trembling in the window. His assistant Lan's voice broke the silence. "Sir, Min's company refused to confirm the payment. They said, documents are missing." Alex's brow furrowed. "Impossible." Then the call came. Min's voice, once friendly, now cold. "I haven't received anything from your company." Click. The line went dead. A strange heaviness filled the room. The ticking clock grew unbearably loud. Lan spoke again, quietly. "Sir, someone used a former employee's name to resend the contract. It was altered." Alex froze. Betrayal, confusion, and fear collided in his chest. And then, Tuna's face appeared in his mind. The way she smiled that morning, Henry's laughter echoing behind her. He reached for his phone, fingers trembling. The line rang, once, twice, 3 times. Then only silence. Outside, thunder cracked across the sky. The world, it seemed, was closing in from every side. The city lights flickered through the storm, reflected in Alex's eyes like shards of broken glass. He stood by the window of his office, drenched in the pale glow of lightning. The silence was unbearable, the kind that presses against your ribs until you forget to breathe. He redialed Tuna's number, again and again. "The number you dialed is temporarily unavailable." Each repetition felt like a knife turned deeper. "Nah, please, pick up," he whispered, voice cracking under the weight of panic. He threw on his coat, ignoring Lan's calls as he left. The rain greeted him like an old enemy, cold, sharp, relentless. Tires hissed against the flooded streets as he drove through the night, each passing light a heartbeat, each drop of rain a whisper of her name. If someone hurts you while I'm here, what then? Her laugh had once been his shelter. Now it was an echo chasing him through the storm. Far from the city, Tuna trudged along a muddy path, Henry asleep against her shoulder. The rain seeped through her old coat, but she pressed on. Fear had not left her. It simply changed shape, settling into the quiet resolve of a mother who had no choice but to keep moving. Ahead, a faint yellow light blinked through the darkness, the home of Mrs. Tang, an elderly woman known for her kindness. "Grandma Tang, it's me, Tuna." The door opened to warmth and wood smoke. The old woman's wrinkled hands reached for hers. "Oh dear, why are you walking in the rain with the boy? Come in, quick, you're freezing." The scent of burning firewood mixed with the aroma of tea. For the first time that night, Tuna's shoulders relaxed. "He came today," she whispered, eyes unfocused. "A man said Alex wasn't mine." Mrs. Tang's expression darkened for a moment, then softened. Some people use fear because they've already lost their hearts. Meanwhile, Alex's car turned down the dirt road leading to the farm. The headlights cut through sheets of rain, revealing an open door swinging in the wind. He stepped out, shoes sinking into mud, rain soaking through his shirt. "Nah?" Inside, the air smelled of smoke and fear. The table was cracked. A cup lay shattered on the ground, and on it, Henry's tiny handkerchief, damp, stained with tears. Alex fell to his knees, clutching it. His breath came in short, uneven gasps. The storm outside screamed, matching the chaos inside his chest. "May, is that you?" he whispered to the thunder. Lightning tore across the sky, a blinding flash, as if the universe itself had answered. And in that single instant, Alex understood. This was never about business. It was personal. The company, the forged contracts, the silence, all of it had been leading here. To this moment, to her. Outside, the rain fell harder, but Alex no longer felt it. He only felt the hollow ache of a heart collapsing under the weight of realization that love, once pure, had become the sharpest weapon of all. And at that moment, everything changed. The rain eased just slightly, a fragile pause between roars of thunder. Alex stood motionless in the middle of the empty house, the sound of water dripping from his sleeves echoing in the silence. His hand still clutched Henry's handkerchief, the fabric trembling like a living thing. He took one unsteady breath, then another. Somewhere inside that storm, Tuna and the boy were still out there. He turned, leaving muddy footprints across the wooden floor, and stepped back into the rain. His headlights carved a narrow tunnel of light through the darkness. Every puddle mirrored his face, pale, hollow, desperate. The phone on the seat beside him blinked with one last message unsent. "I'm coming for you." In another corner of the countryside, Tuna sat by the small fire at Mrs. Tang's house. The smell of burning wood wrapped around her like an old blanket. Henry slept beside her, his small chest rising and falling in rhythm with the rain. For a moment, it felt like safety. But fear doesn't sleep. It lingers quietly, waiting for silence to deepen. Mrs. Tang handed her a cup of warm tea. "Child," she said softly, "storms can destroy, but they also wash away lies. Sometimes, what hurts you today is what saves you tomorrow. Tuna looked down at her trembling hands. But what if tomorrow never comes? The old woman smiled, slow, serene. Then you must become tomorrow yourself. Outside, lightning struck again, illuminating the road where a single car approached. Alex's silhouette appeared against the storm, his steps unsteady, his breath shallow. The moment she saw him through the rain-blurred window, her heart stopped. She had imagined this reunion countless times, but not like this, not soaked in fear. He burst through the door, eyes wild. "Na! Are you okay?" She froze. Her lips trembled. "How did you find me?" He didn't answer. Instead, he took a step forward, water dripping from his hair. "I thought I'd lost you." His voice broke halfway. "Everything's falling apart. The company, the contracts, even the people I trusted. But none of that matters now. I just needed to see you breathe." Tuna shook her head, tears mixing with the rain on her cheeks. "They came for me, Alex. A man with a ring. He said you don't belong to me." Alex's jaw tightened. "May." The name left his mouth like poison. "She's behind this. She wanted to ruin everything. Our work, our lives." The fire crackled between them, flickering like a heartbeat. Silence pressed close, the kind that tests the weight of every truth left unsaid. "I told myself I'd protect you," Alex whispered. "But I failed. I couldn't even keep the storm from reaching you." Tuna reached out, her hand trembling, resting gently on his sleeve. "You didn't fail. You just forgot what mattered first." Their eyes met, tired, broken, but still searching. Then, through the rain, a faint light shimmered outside the window. A car engine idled in the distance. A shadow stood beneath the trees, motionless, watching. Alex instinctively stepped forward, shielding Tuna and the boy. "Stay inside," he said. But the shadow didn't move closer. After a moment, it turned away, swallowed by the fog. Maybe it was May's messenger, or maybe it was the storm itself, retreating after it had done enough. Tuna closed the door, leaning against it. Her heart finally slowed. The night was still heavy, but somewhere deep inside, something shifted. A quiet surrender. A fragile kind of peace. Alex took Henry into his arms, the boy murmuring softly in sleep. Tuna looked at them, and for the first time, she didn't feel fear, only exhaustion, and an ache that might one day heal. Outside, the rain began to thin. Inside, the flame on the stove danced higher, painting their faces in soft gold. The storm had not ended, but its cruelty had softened into something gentler, almost forgiving. And between silence and breath, love found a way to stay, not through promises, but through survival. By dawn, the rain had faded into mist. The world outside was drenched in silver, soft and ghost-like, as if the night had taken everything cruel and washed it clean. Alex stood by the doorway, staring at the quiet fields. The air still carried the scent of wet earth, heavy but alive. Behind him, Tuna stirred. She wrapped a blanket around Henry, who was still sleeping beside the fading embers of the fire. His tiny fingers clutched the handkerchief Alex had found, no longer a symbol of loss, but of what they had endured. For a long time, none of them spoke. Silence was no longer frightening. It had become a form of grace. Alex turned, voice low and rough. "I don't know how to fix what's broken." Tuna looked up, eyes glimmering in the faint morning light. "Maybe we don't fix it. Maybe we just live, one moment at a time. He stepped closer, kneeling beside her. I was so afraid of losing everything, the company, the future, the control I thought I had. But when I couldn't reach you, I realized that peace isn't something to build, it's something to protect. The old woman, Mrs. Tang, entered quietly, carrying 3 cups of tea. Her smile was gentle, almost knowing. "You see, child," she said, setting the cups down, "storms don't choose who to test, but they do reveal who still believes in light." Tuna took a sip, the warmth spreading through her palms. The world outside shimmered with dew, each drop of water catching the newborn sunlight like fragments of glass. She whispered, "Maybe love doesn't end. It just changes shape." Alex looked at her, eyes soft but unreadable. "And maybe," he said, "some storms are worth surviving, if they bring you home." Henry stirred in his sleep, murmuring something unintelligible, a child's dream chasing the fading thunder. Alex reached out and brushed a strand of hair from Tuna's face. For a moment, the 3 of them existed in perfect stillness, suspended between what was lost and what was left. Outside, the sun finally broke through the clouds, scattering gold across the soaked fields. The storm had passed, but its echo lingered, not as a wound, but as a quiet memory. And somewhere deep within that stillness, forgiveness began, unspoken, fragile, and real. She smiled faintly, the corners of her lips trembling. Not because it was over, but because it had been.
Trong một đêm mưa dữ dội, Tử Na bế con trai nhỏ rời khỏi trang trại và chạy trốn khỏi nỗi sợ hãi vô hình. Trong khi đó, Alex, vị CEO đang khủng hoảng vì công ty bị phá hoại, tuyệt vọng gọi cho cô trong vô vọng, một âm mưu do May dàn về để đẩy cả ve vào vòng xoáy tình yêu, ghen tuông và phản bội. Khi Alex tìm thấy căn nhà trống, chỉ còn là chiếc khăn tay của Henry và mùi xăng lạnh lẽo, anh hiểu rằng cơn bão không chỉ ngoài trời mà trong chính tim mình. Nhưng giữa đêm tối, nhờ lòng nhân hậu của bà Tăng, Tử Na tìm lại chút bình yên, và khi mình lên gọi nàng ra,